Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update on the Springboks. If you enjoy the content, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your fellow rugby fans. Your support means everything and helps us bring you the latest Springboks news and analysis. Now, let's get into what promises to be one of the most exciting tours in recent memory. The Springboks are gearing up for what could be their most demanding and thrilling end-of-year tour in over a decade, and head coach Rassie Erasmus has made his intentions crystal clear. This isn't going to be a tour of experimentation or giving younger players a run. This is about winning, and winning big. The world champions are targeting something they haven't achieved since 2013, an unbeaten tour of the Northern Hemisphere. That's right. 11 years since the Boks managed to go through an entire November tour without dropping a single test match. And Erasmus believes this squad has what it takes to end that drought. The tour kicks off this Saturday with a historic clash against Japan at the iconic Wembley Stadium in London. This match marks the first time rugby returns to Wembley since 2016, when the Springboks and the Barbarians played out an absolute thriller that ended 31-all. The venue itself carries so much history, having hosted 11 rugby matches over the years, and this weekend it's set to come alive once again. Kickoff is at 16:10 UK time, which translates to 18:10 South African time, and fans can expect fireworks from the moment the whistle blows. Now, you might think Japan would be considered a warm-up game before the big tests, but Erasmus has been quick to remind everyone not to underestimate the brave Blossoms. Let's not forget, Japan shocked the rugby world back in 2015 with their miracle win in Brighton, beating South Africa 34-32 in what remains one of the greatest upsets in World Cup history. That match changed rugby in Japan from being a minor sport to a boom sport, and Eddie Jones, who coached Japan to that incredible victory, is now back at the helm of the brave Blossoms. Jones, who was a technical advisor to the Springboks when they won the World Cup in 2007, knows exactly what it takes to beat South Africa, and he'll have his team fired up and ready to create another upset. Erasmus has emphasized that Japan play fast, attacking high-tempo rugby, and the Springboks have experienced this firsthand in their encounters during the 2019 Rugby World Cup. The Japanese style of play can be electrifying and unpredictable, throwing quick ball around and looking for gaps everywhere. It's the kind of rugby that can catch even the best teams off guard if they're not switched on from the opening whistle. Erasmus wants his team to be sharp, focused, and ready for the challenge that awaits them under the Wembley arch. The South African coach has made it clear that every opponent on this tour deserves respect, and Japan is no exception. Playing against the Springboks is the dream of every young Japanese player, according to Jones, and that kind of motivation can be incredibly dangerous. What makes this tour so special is the quality and depth of opposition that lies ahead. After Japan, the Springboks face a brutal schedule that will test every fiber of their being. They travel to Paris on November 8th to take on France at the Stade de France, a match that Erasmus has described as being like a World Cup knockout game. The French will be out for revenge after that heartbreaking one-point quarterfinal loss at the 2023 World Cup, one of the most epic encounters in recent rugby history. France are currently ranked 4th in the world and will have the home crowd behind them. Then it's off to Turin on November 15th to face Italy, a team that put up a brave fight against the Boks in Pretoria earlier this year and will be confident on home soil. The real acid tests come in the following 2 weeks. On November 22nd, South Africa takes on Ireland in Dublin at the Aviva Stadium. This is the match that has everyone talking. Ireland are ranked 3rd in the world and have won their last 3 tests against South Africa in Dublin, including that humiliating 35-point thrashing back in 2017. The Aviva Stadium has become a fortress for the Irish, and they'll be desperate to prove they can match up against the world champions. Erasmus has described this as another World Cup knockout-style encounter, and you can bet the atmosphere in Dublin will be absolutely electric. Finally, the tour concludes on November 29th against Wales at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Wales have been on an upward trajectory after a difficult period, and they'll want to finish their year on a high against the Springboks. So what's Erasmus's plan for conquering this gauntlet? Well, he's named an experienced 36-man squad packed with World Cup winners and battle-hardened veterans. 29 of the players in the touring party were part of the squad that won the World Cup in France, and there are no uncapped players. This is a statement selection, showing that Erasmus is all about results on this tour. Gone is the rotation and experimentation that we saw during the Rugby Championship, where 49 different players got game time. Players like Sacha Feinberg-mngomezulu, Ben Jason Dixon, Edwill van der Merwe, and Johan Grobbelaar all earned debuts earlier in the year as Erasmus looked ahead to the 2027 World Cup in Australia. But for November, it's time to go full strength. The big news is the return of key players who missed the Rugby Championship through injury and suspension. Damian is back after missing the entire international season so far. He's been playing strongly for the Stormers, albeit at fly half rather than his preferred fullback position, and his return gives Erasmus crucial depth in the back three. Franco Mostert and R.G. Snyman, both world-class locks, are fit again and bring enormous experience to the second row. Andre Esterhuizen returns in the midfield, adding his powerful ball-carrying presence. These four players were sorely missed during the Rugby Championship, and their return couldn't have come at a better time. However, there are some notable omissions that have raised eyebrows. Willie LaRue and Vincent Koch, both 35 years old and stalwarts of the Springbok setup, haven't made the touring squad. Neither has Bongi Mbonambi, which is perhaps the most surprising exclusion given his importance as one of the premier hookers in World Rugby. Veterans like Faf de Klerk, Lucanio Am, and Makazole Mapimpi find themselves on the standby list rather than in the main squad. This signals what many are calling a changing of the guard. Erasmus is clearly looking at the bigger picture with the 2027 World Cup on the horizon, and younger players like Malcolm Marx, Johan Grobbelaar, Kobus Reinach, and Edwill van der Merwe are being given the opportunity to cement their places as first-choice options. One player to watch is Sacha Feinberg-mngomezulu, the young fly-half who scored a Springbok record 37 points, including 3 tries, in the 67-30 Rugby Championship demolition of Argentina in Durban. His development has been remarkable, and Erasmus has praised how he's grown over time despite some mishaps along the way. With Manny Libbok also in the squad, and the possibility of Damian being used at fullback or even fly-half, Erasmus has options in the playmaker positions. This depth will be crucial, especially if injuries strike during such a condensed tour. The Springboks are coming off an impressive Rugby Championship campaign where they retained their title for the first time with back-to-back wins. They edged out the All Blacks on points difference after a record 43-10 thrashing in their final match. That victory capped off what has been a largely successful year for South Africa. They've won 11 out of 13 matches in 2024, with their only defeats coming by a single point to Ireland and Argentina. Their win rate sits at a healthy 80%. And if they can win all 5 November tests, that percentage would climb even higher to match their 2023 World Cup winning form where they won 11 out of 13 matches. But Erasmus isn't getting carried away. He knows that history counts for nothing when you step onto the field, and past success will only motivate opponents even more. The coach has been at pains to emphasize just how challenging this tour will be. It's longer than usual, with 5 test matches over 5 weeks, and the quality of opposition is consistently high. Ireland and France currently sit 3rd and 4th in the world rankings respectively, while Italy are 10th, Wales 12th, and Japan 13th. On paper, you might say some of these matches look easier, but Erasmus is adamant you cannot write off any opponent, especially when they're playing at home with their passionate supporters behind them. The conditions will also be vastly different from what the players are used to. November in the United Kingdom and Europe means cold, wet, and potentially miserable weather compared to the South African sunshine. Fortunately, most of the squad have experience playing in these conditions, having plied their trade in European leagues or toured before, but it's still an adjustment that needs to be made quickly. The Springboks departed for London in different groups over the weekend, with the full squad assembling on Monday morning to begin preparations. Training time is limited before that Japan clash on Saturday, so the coaching staff will need to hit the ground running and get the players up to speed immediately. Erasmus has also had to navigate some tricky World Rugby regulations regarding player availability. The matches against Japan and Wales fall outside the official international window, which meant he needed special dispensation from clubs to release foreign-based players. According to reports, the Japanese clubs have approved the availability of key players like Marx, Jasper Wiese-Pieter-Steph du Toit, Damian de Allende, and Cheslin Kolbe for that crucial Wales match on November 29th. This is a huge boost for the Springboks, ensuring they can field their strongest possible team for the tour finale. Looking ahead to the bigger picture, this tour is about more than just winning matches in November 2024. Erasmus has his eye firmly on the 2027 World Cup in Australia, where South Africa will attempt to become the first nation ever to win the tournament 3 times in a row. It's an unprecedented feat that would cement this generation of Springboks as the greatest of all time. To achieve that, Erasmus needs depth in every position, which is why he's been experimenting so much throughout the year. His goal is to have at least 3 players competing for each position by the time he selects his World Cup squad. This November tour, with its experienced lineup, will help solidify who those first-choice players are in the key positions. The expectations from South African rugby fans are sky-high. A recent poll in a South African rugby magazine showed that 46% of respondents believe the Springboks will win all 5 tests on this tour, while 42% think they'll win 4 out of 5. That's an incredible level of confidence in the team, and it speaks to the dominance they've shown since winning the World Cup. But expectations can be a double-edged sword. The pressure is on Erasmus and his team to deliver, and anything less than a strong showing could be seen as a disappointment. The squad has been training hard since the end of the Rugby Championship, putting in the work behind the scenes to prepare for this tour. Erasmus has emphasized the importance of consistency, something he feels the team struggled with at times during the Rugby Championship. There were some excellent performances, particularly that record win over the All Blacks, but also some disappointing ones, like the narrow losses to Ireland and Argentina. Building that week-in, week-out consistency is what separates good teams from great teams, and Erasmus is determined to see his squad deliver at a consistently high level throughout November. The atmosphere at each venue is going to be special. Wembley Stadium can hold close to 90,000 fans, and you can expect a huge contingent of South African expats living in London to pack the stands and create an incredible atmosphere. The same will be true in Paris, Turin, Dublin, and Cardiff, where passionate home crowds will create hostile environments for the visitors. But the Springboks have shown time and again that they thrive in these pressure cooker situations. Their experience, mental toughness, and world-class talent make them one of the most formidable teams in world rugby when the stakes are highest. One of the fascinating subplots is the coaching battle between Erasmus and Eddie Jones in that opening match at Wembley. These are 2 of the sharpest rugby minds in the game today. Erasmus has won 2 World Cups as head coach and has revolutionized South African rugby with his innovative tactics and fearless selection policies. Jones, meanwhile, has been to 4 World Cup finals in different capacities, winning one with South Africa and coming agonizingly close with Australia and England. He's known for his meticulous preparation and ability to get his teams to punch above their weight. This will be a chess match between 2 grandmasters of rugby coaching, and it's going to be absolutely riveting to watch unfold. As Saturday approaches, the excitement continues to build. The Springboks are about to embark on one of the most challenging and potentially rewarding tours in their proud history. Rassie Erasmus has set the target clearly, an unbeaten tour, something that hasn't been achieved in over a decade. With a squad full of world champions, returning stars, and hungry young players all desperate to prove themselves, South Africa has the talent to achieve this ambitious goal. But rugby, as we all know, is played on the field, not on paper, and the opposition will be fierce every single weekend. So there you have it. Everything you need to know about the Springboks November tour and what Rassie Erasmus is targeting. It all starts this Saturday at Wembley against Japan, and we cannot wait to see how this tour unfolds. If you enjoyed this breakdown, Please remember to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow Springbok supporters, and subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates throughout the tour. Drop a comment below and let us know your predictions. Do you think the Boks can go unbeaten? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.